Hey everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to kind of like an update video. I actually just completed something that I didn't actually think that I would be able to complete, at least not this year. Since about 2018, I have actually been working and struggling to actually finish my first book and a novel project that I've been working on. It's actually a 13-part series that I'm planning on developing. But for a long time, I have been actually very distracted with schoolwork and stuff, so I just haven't been able to sit down and write my book. But since I actually graduated with my master's degree at my University of Chico State, I actually have been able to complete my first book, and I've been able to sit down and been able to write a chapter a week, and I just finished writing the epilogue. So I guess what I want to say is now that my first draft is finished, what I'm actually going to do right now is spend a lot of time in revision. I need to go back and edit like several chapters, make sure that everything is written well and written perfectly. And one of the major things I want to try and like fix and want to try and edit is adding part two and three of my first book and kind of expanding on some things. I do kind of feel that part two and part three is probably my weakest part of my book because it's just not as detailed as part one. So I do want to go back and I just want to like expand on some things, just try to make things a little bit more detailed. Because one criticism I do have with part two and part three is that it's a lot of dialogue, and I do kind of feel I don't really like focus on the details that much because I do kind of feel that I was kind of rushing through to an extent, and I wanted to try and focus more on what my character was feeling, what they were experiencing, what they were like. I guess like focusing on like the five senses, which is something that I kind of learned in my time in grad school. I want to focus on like developing like what my character was experiencing in these specific events, and try and like make it so that the reader could, I guess, like feel it too, could actually understand, and could imagine what this experience was like for them. And that's one of the things I want to try and focus on in writing my and revision. And also one of the other things I want to try and focus on is trying to focus on writing on the grammar and the spelling errors and the verb tense, making sure that everything is perfect. When all the revisions are done, I am actually going to be spending a lot of time. I'm probably going to be finding a line editor to pay for, and at doing any final revisions for my things, because things that I missed the first time around. And I think once all that is done, then I will finally be looking at a publisher. So I guess if there's something I will say is for the longest time, like I've been unable to finish this this book since like 2018. And this question of like for amateur writers like myself, the question of how are you able to sit down and work on your book? Because a lot of people, including myself for a while, have been unable to sit down and get any writing done. And this question actually came up a few times when I was in grad school, when I was in undergrad. And I'll just go ahead and echo a piece of advice that my instructors actually stated, which is try and write a little bit every day. Even if you don't feel motivated to, even if you hit a wall and you feel like you can't write. We've all been there as writers. We all hit that low wall where we feel like we can't really write, where we feel like that we are unable to write because we just don't know what to write, essentially. For me, the issue was not so much that I didn't really know what to write, but so much that I was so distracted that I couldn't focus on writing. And I guess my piece of advice is just echoing what my uh, former committee chair used to say to his students all the time, is to write a little bit every day. I do have some people I want to thank for this project. I would not have gone as far as I did without the advice and the critiques from my parents, who are the only people who I've read parts of my work in relation to book one. I would also like to thank my former instructors, Professor Rob Davidson, Professor Jeannie Clark, Professor or Dr. Aaron Kelly. I would like to thank former Professor Molly Emmons. I believe she is retired now. And I would also like to thank Professor Marshall Haslam, who is actually the head of the fire science, or teaches fire science at Butte College. And I was actually taking this class when I decided to change my majors. It was actually his support for me changing my majors that actually encouraged me to follow under the career of writing. So I would like to thank those professors for actually being like a partial influence in my development of a writer. And I would also like to thank two people that are currently not here with us. I would like to thank my former professor, Mark McKinnon, who unfortunately passed away, I believe, in 2020 to cancer. He was actually the person that made me realize that I have a talent for creative writing, and he was a huge source of inspiration for myself as a writer. And I would also like to thank my grandmother, who is also not with us. She died in 2020 as well. She had dementia at the end of her life, and she also had some other like health issues when she died. And my dad actually believes that she was one of the first victims of COVID, but he just can't really prove that. It's just something that he always assumed. So I would like to thank those two people. My grandmother, Mary Lou Bennett, is also a published author, and she was nominated to win an Edgar Award for her book Murder in Oregon, Murder Once Done. And if I would have loved for her to just read some of my chapters, I would love for her to just see what I've tried to do in my writing. But unfortunately, when I started developing my book, she started showing symptoms, started showing signs of dementia where she was having trouble remembering certain things. And the only thing of mine that she has actually read was a poem I wrote when I was when I took a creative writing class in 2016, I believe. So those are the people I want to thank. I would also like to thank you all for watching this video, for following my channel, my accounts on Twitter, for following my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel. Part of the reason why I am focusing on trying to finish this book, part of the reason why I am writing this book project at all, is because I want to have a story I want to tell, and I want to share this story with people like you, people who are interested in the craft of writing, people who are interested in reading stories and reading the stories of characters, and just actually being able to be immersed in the world that people have created. So I just want to give like a final thank you to you all for watching this, and for those people who have supported my project over the years that I have not mentioned. Thank you guys so much, and that's actually going to do it for today. So this video is probably going to be posted on Twitter and on my YouTube channel. It's actually going to be linked to Twitter. It's probably going to be linked to Twitter for probably a couple months, really. And I will send an update when I get closer to publishing, and I will let you guys know when it's published and when you can get your hands on it. That's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.